Hi everybody, it's Lacy. Welcome to Real Women, Real Success. This week's video is on the topic of delivering. And if you've been watching, this is 4 of a 5-part series on the 5 strengths that women were born with that you can leverage for success. I've been sharing that I wrote about these 5 strengths in a book that I helped co-author, Keys to Conscious Business Growth. You can get this on my website for free for just the cost of shipping and you're all set. And in my chapter, I'm one of 20 women who wrote a chapter for this book. This book is meant to help people who want to succeed while staying true to their values and contributing in the world in a significant and meaningful way. It's a wonderful anthology that I hope you'll pick up, again, for free at my website, realwomenrealsuccess.com. So I'm going through a 5-part series on the 5 strengths that I wrote about in this book, and I briefly wrote on them because you can imagine with 20 women and 20 chapters, you don't have the space to say everything you want to say. We've been going through the strengths each week with each successive video. I started out with the strength that women have of giving, and then we moved on to emoting, the natural strength that women had, and how to do that in a way that engages people and encourages them to follow you and allows them to be excited about your vision. We talked about leveraging, something that women often don't realize they're very, very good at it. That's often associated with a man's world, but we talked a little bit about how women are born to leverage and that you can absolutely employ that God-given skill set to help you increase your success. And this week we're going to talk about delivering, and this is absolutely a skill, as you know, that all women were born with. You've heard before, I'm sure, just as I have heard, that if you want to get something done, give it to a woman. And I don't for a minute want you to think that I am sexist or anything. I love women and men equally, but I will tell you that both male and female skill sets are needed to succeed. And the challenge that I have is that in the world today, only 5% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women, only 14% of government top executive leadership are women. And that is a problem not only for us as women, but for the world, because our skill sets are needed. So my videos are about how we empower ourselves and utilize our skills to achieve higher levels of success. So today we're going to talk about delivering. Now, you know, what can you say about delivering? Women are great at it. Do more of it. You know, I think that one of the things we have to really tell ourselves and understand emotionally as women is that delivering is a tough process. There's setbacks. When you're doing all your homework and getting all the right influences around the table, sometimes people don't deliver to you what they had promised. Sometimes it's hard to get some of the right key people on board. And that is the biggest challenge that we face in terms of delivering, not only to our, what would you call it, end user, consumer, or customer for our business or our product or our organization, but also for internal customers. And there's 2 types of internal customers. There's your boss or your supervisor or the head of the organization, whoever you report to. And then if you have partners or colleagues or employees, there's another set of internal customers. And I've put on the board here the A, B, and C, and this is where the challenge comes in delivering. The A is your boss or your board of directors or the CEO of your organization. Whoever it is that you report directly to is a customer. I challenge you to think of them as a customer because they are paying you to do something for them. And so they are your customer. Then you have these internal customers. B, those are your internal partners, your employees, anybody else that you have to work with internally. And then C is your end user customer, the one that you have to produce the results for. So now why do I say that you're really good at serving all those masters? Think back to, let me give you an example of my own life. When I was a young mom and I was doing the cooking and I had my babies at home and I decided I wanted to go back to work. And in my first marriage, there was a lot of assumption that certain things just fell to the woman. And I find a lot of people fall in that category of, even though there's two workers in the family, some of the things fall all on one person, sometimes the woman, or mostly on one person. But how good are most women at just saying, okay, I've got this demand of my child that is sort of a competing demand with maybe my husband or my work schedule, okay? And instead of getting angry at any one of those components, don't a lot of times women, and we know we have our days of frustration, but aren't women really good at figuring out the middle ground of, I've got to satisfy the baby's needs, I got to satisfy work, I got to satisfy my husband, I got to put dinner on the table, I got to pay the bills. I mean, women are great at this. You could call it professional juggling, you could call it whatever you want. But I think sometimes in the workplace we forget that it's really important to juggle, okay? And it can be disheartening to have to juggle. I will tell you, and be full disclosure, tell on myself, I left my last job, I left a 30-year nonprofit management career because I didn't want to serve all the masters anymore. I no longer wanted to do it. But I think sometimes we feel stuck. I certainly felt stuck for a while and have felt stuck in my career. And the strength of delivering comes when we sit back and go, okay, maybe it's not that I'm stuck. Maybe it's that I'm not willing to deliver what one of these three parties needs. Because here's where we are, right? We're in the middle. We're in the middle of all of that. And if you should come to the conclusion that you have a hard time satisfying all those customers, or perhaps you oftentimes are closer to the end customer, right? You're gonna know oftentimes more what will deliver to them than maybe someone above you. And isn't that always the most frustrating position to be in? And so when you're looking at actually delivering, you have to take all these things into consideration and decide, am I willing to massage my idea, my result, the thing I'm supposed to deliver, to help bring all these people into the fold because they're all customers. And sometimes you find that you think that's impossible, and sometimes you find that you can tweak it and you can do it, and sometimes we just have a problem with this person, right? Because we know better, and oftentimes we do. And I want to say something to you right now. I have had, and many women have, and many people, many professionals have had the experience that the person in A doesn't trust them enough. Isn't that one of the things you learn in leadership? Trust your people, trust your people. And isn't it so frustrating when you have a boss or a board of directors or somebody on your board or somebody that's your supervisor or your boss or your leader that doesn't truly believe in you? And you have no control over that. You can try to meet their needs. You know, I had someone recently tell me, yeah, but my boss, they're out for themselves. Yep. There are people out there like that. We can't change it. The only thing we can do is decide, do we want to serve that customer? We do have a choice, and I know sometimes it's hard. People like my husband spend their whole career in one agency or in one organization, and it's, especially in government, that's really hard to leave. But I think sometimes, at least if we can acknowledge we're in a situation that there's certain things we cannot change at the A level, that's freeing, and then it's a choice. And you can leave if you want to. You can chart a path towards something different, or you can decide to look at it differently. And here's what I've done so many times, and here's why I say you can deliver. If you go back to that example I gave you, where you're the young professional with the family and the child, and you're trying to serve all these people, you can do it if you want to. There's very few circumstances where you couldn't do it. For myself, in my last place of employment, I found that to serve all the masters, I had to compromise some of my values. So I went ahead and charted a path to do something different. But if you decide, and this is not an issue of just I like someone or I don't like someone, I'm talking about hardcore integrity values. And if you can get past that, and you can get past the distaste of a boss or someone that's either out for themselves or doesn't quite get it, and you're willing to serve that person, then perhaps the result is not exactly what you originally thought it would be. Perhaps the result is to get the person at the top to understand your value in a different way by giving them what they need. And that can be a tough decision to come to, but my point in this video is not to tell you you should or you shouldn't. My point in this video is to say you are hardwired to deliver whatever you decide to deliver. You have innate strengths as a woman that you have been employing since you were born, and you absolutely have the ability to deliver. And I know it brings heartache with it at some times, and I know sometimes there are those rare circumstances where it just isn't possible. But if you give this some consideration, I'm convinced that you'll get to some more clarity and you'll be able to use your strength either to deliver in the environment that you're in, that I've just demonstrated right here, or in a new one, and creating a new environment yourself where what you deliver is in alignment with your heart and what you know to be effective. And that is a wonderful place to be. So I hope this was helpful for you today. Please give this video a like. Thank you to those of you who've been writing me and asking me for different videos. As soon as I'm done with this 5-part series, next week will be the last one. That'll be on bouncing back, another thing we're great at. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to start doing some videos on some of these topics that women have asked me to talk about. One of them on micromanaging, and there are several other topics, and I look forward to doing that for you. So, thanks for visiting with me today. I hope you go out there and have a great week, and always remember, I'm your biggest fan.